Alrighty, this is your down and dirty, quick and fast April horoscopes for 2019. We've got some major activity this month, so we're not going to get into the little blow by blow stuff in this particular forecast. We're going to go over the meat, the really important things here. So this month kicks off with a new moon in Aries, which by all rights and intents and purposes should be very good. We are coming out from underneath that damnable Mercury retrograde with all that Neptune Pisces stuff that was really, oh my God, what a nightmare, right? We're out from underneath that, and as a result of that, we're all feeling a lot more optimistic. Things are moving finally. So a lot of log jams are clearing up and we're able to, what appears to be, make forward progress. There's a whole lot of trying to catch up and make up for lost time this first couple of weeks of April. Now, here's the catch though. Right after this new moon in Aries around the 5th, what we have also at the same time is we have a Venus-Neptune conjunction, which should be good, but Jupiter is stationing retrograde, okay? So this is a lot like having the best of intentions and having absolutely no idea how to get things to move forward and work. So a lot of misunderstanding about just exactly how much can get done by when and by whom and yada yada yada. So for those of you who work on deadlines or who work on projects where there's, deadlines are important, and also other people's cooperation, keeping those deadlines is important. This is going to be a problem. So estimate conservatively if you can. For the rest of us, just understand that people mean well, but circumstances may prevent them from following through. So try not to put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to anything being offered, put on the table as a solution or an opportunity in these first couple of weeks of April. And definitely make sure you get it in writing. Now, the other things that are happening that are very important this month is we have two outer planets that are also going retrograde. So we have three of the majors going retrograde this month. And remember, with the outer planets, the further out they are, the longer that station is in effect. We feel it much earlier than we would like in a smaller, faster moving planet like Mercury. So at the end of the month, we have Pluto going retrograde and Saturn going retrograde. And even though they're going retrograde at the end of the month, we're feeling it all the way up to the beginning of the month. We're already starting to feel those retrogrades early in the month while Jupiter's going retrograde. So here's the things I want you guys to think about, right? So the first thing, with Pluto's going retrograde, Pluto's going to be retrograde for a long time. So one of the things about Pluto is a lot like tectonic plates under the earth. Like it takes a long time for it to move and have any impact that we notice. All right, so we may not be feeling that station, except for a couple of isolated events too much. And also too, Pluto retrograde allows us to kind of get back in and go over old material, right? To kind of get the plugs out. So I'm not particularly worried about this Pluto retrograde as much as I am Saturn retrograde. So Saturn stationing retrograde at the end of this month, we are feeling it all month long. And here's what is important about Saturn. Saturn is, just like Jupiter, is in its rulership. So there is the possibility to get much better, easier, more helpful things out of this than if it were retrograde in any other sign. In the sign of its own rulership, it has a lot more power to act for good and not so good. But typically when it's not so good, it's not bad, right? It's like, how awful can Mary Poppins possibly be? So Saturn in Capricorn has been a big, big deal, like more than any other planetary, the activity, even with Jupiter in Sagittarius and Neptune and Pisces. Saturn in Capricorn has been a very, very big deal. And it's very important to us. And the reason is because Saturn rules reality. Saturn is the thing that gives structure and allows us to measure and identify things objectively. So Saturn is the point where time and space come together and we have an objective thing in front of us. It's material reality. So this particular Saturn transit into its own sign has been extremely important because what it has been doing is allowing us to get in touch with our wisdom, right? And opportunities to come from a place of wisdom and to recognize the wisdom of situations. We've had a lot of that going on because Saturn rules time and wisdom and old age and all the things that matter in terms of legacy and longevity. And we've been seeing it. A whole lot of people across the globe have been called on the carpet for what is essentially short-sighted, selfish thinking. Because Saturn is about legacy and what we leave behind for our children and time and generations and wisdom, right? Wisdom. So, and Saturn doesn't play. Like, so, I mean, if you use the word karma, Saturn in Capricorn right now is very much about instant karma. This instant karma people love to throw around. We've been seeing it. Now we've been seeing it. So, with Saturn going retrograde in Capricorn, we can expect the crankier side of Saturn and Capricorn to appear. Now, with Saturn Capricorn retrograde, things that I would expect to see are people being much more strict and absolute about right and wrong. So there's no shades of gray. There's no, well, circumstance, kind of, sort of. No. It's right or it's wrong. The other thing is I would expect to see some people, depending on how evolved they are, maybe feeling a lot more insecure about their resources and what they have to work with and, how their future is going to go. So you may see a whole lot of people who are just a lot more cranky in general. The most important thing with this Saturn retrograde, no matter what happens this month, because we're looking at major events outside of ourselves that now are going to fall into place, like all the shoes are dropping, or was it the boulders are falling, as it were. So all the internal stuff that we had going on in March is now going to manifest in the physical world in April. So people might be getting divorced, people might be losing their job, people might be getting promotions, people may win the lotteries, I don't know. There's a whole lot of different things that'll happen, but ultimately it's things that were going on, but those tectonic plates that were shifting under the earth, like now we're going to have the earthquake, the physical manifestation that we can see from that. Along with that, the important thing to remember is that Saturn retrograde is going to give us an opportunity to stop, check in with ourselves, and do it right. Remember, Saturn is about long-term planning. And if you guys saw the video very early on when Saturn first went into Capricorn, all the talk was about the struggle and the planning and the long-term considerations that must be put into effect in order to get the best out of Saturn and Capricorn. So right now, because we're just past the halfway mark for Saturn, and getting into the last leg of the sign, this is the time to do it. So this is an opportunity for us to kind of go back and check in. And if we haven't been making plans and we haven't been looking at long-term strategies as far as how to get through the next 10 or 15 years, so, contingency plans, plan B sort of stuff. This is the time to do it. Because once this window closes, we won't get a second chance. So while we are going through this, understand that Saturn retrograde right now is because it's all about wisdom. Okay, Saturn is going to offer you an opportunity to kind of dig in and give you a second chance to clean it up, right? Plan for all possible contingencies and make sure you've got a long-range goal and plan in place. Because just like the ant and the grasshopper, this is not the time to, fiddle around and enjoy the weather and, just be completely optimistic that the future will take care of itself. No. This is the time when we need to have structure and planning and put the work in, right? Just like the little ant who worked all summer toiling away so he would have a good, safe winter. So that's it. That is your mini horoscope for April 2019.